I've been telling you guys for years that hospitals and healthcare organizations often have strike insurance, and it doesn't cost them anything when employees go on strike. And I frequently get accused of making this up. Like I've just invented this myth called strike insurance and it doesn't exist. So let's go through this and what strike insurance is. But let's start with this. If it didn't exist, why are insurance companies advertising for it? According to the Center for Insurance Policy and Research and the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, strike insurance has been around since about 1976, and it increased in popularity post 9/11 and at the beginning of COVID, which coincides to nurses going on strike in unprecedented numbers. What is it? Well, strike coverage is a type of specialty business insurance that protects businesses from financial losses incurred during a work stoppage. It covers operational costs during a shutdown due to labor disputes. It's often bundled inside a commercial insurance policy or a business owner's policy, but it can also be an independent policy. It's almost never called strike insurance, right? And I am sure that that's purposeful, but it's also what leads to the confusion and doubt that it even exists. But they don't want you to know. Businesses don't want you to know that they have strike insurance because then they can't pull the "you're bleeding us dry" card during strikes. But let me tell you just a few of the names that it goes by. Business interruption insurance, labor strike insurance, political risk insurance, business income insurance, peril policies, profit insurance, extra expense insurance, and the list goes on and on. But I've never actually seen it called officially strike insurance. How does it work and what does it cost? Well, we never know how much an individual policy costs. And again, they keep that locked up, right? They don't want us to know that. I've seen for small businesses where it can cost like $500 to $1,500 per year. Obviously, it's exponentially more for hospitals and healthcare organizations. You know, it's based on the type of industry, the location, the number of employees, and the average revenue. So you can imagine it's not cheap, I'm sure. How does it work and what does it include? Well, again, every policy is individualized. So we're not going to know because they're not going to release that information, your employer. But some of the ways that it can work is it can have a cap. They almost always have some kind of limitation to it, right? So that can be a monetary daily amount. It can be a number of days of the strike amount. So they could maybe only have coverage for a week or a month or like a prolonged period of time. It can be a cap of an overall dollar amount. One of the more interesting things is they can have a limitation on the frequency per year. So when you see the really savvy unions out there that are having multiple short-term strikes per year, that is often why, because they may have a one occurrence per year limitation. So those can be very strategic. Also, another thing that I think is really interesting about this is the way that their deductibles work for strike insurance is often a waiting period at the beginning of the strike that's like 24, 48, 72 hours, which means that the employer is coming completely out of pocket for the first like 72 hours, let's say, of the strike. And then the insurance kicks in. So again, a lot of savvy unions will do these multiple short-term strikes per year because that is actually costing them money. What does it cover? Oh, loss of income. Some of these things don't apply to hospital strikes, but rent, mortgage payments, outstanding loan installments, employee wages, okay? The cost of replacement workers, okay? Taxes, utility bills, expenses for training staff, Costs associated with temporary relocation, promotional advertising it's a long list. I've also seen where they can have specific riders added on for things like covering additional security outside a hospital or wherever the strike is taking place. So why would you think that it doesn't exist? I mean, unless it fits your agenda, right? You can get insurance for literally everything. Models insure their legs. You can get insurance against cybersecurity attacks. Academic institutions can have insurance for tuition fees. Like the list is endless. It exists. I did not make this up, okay? And so I would be remiss if I didn't end on this. As I've told you guys many times, when scabs cross strike lines, they are not helping the movement, helping the nurses on strike, which is one of their more common excuses. They're not bleeding them dry, because the vast overwhelming majority of healthcare organizations have strike insurance that pays for it. Nice try, though.